The glory of victory can intoxicate a nation, create camaraderie, pride, patriotism, and self-confidence, feelings intrinsic to the success of a nation. In Pakistan especially, where the world of sports parallels an unstable reality, the Pakistani people, young and old, crave the ecstasy of victory. For them, there is nothing better than a cricket victory against our archenemy across the border, a competition where international political superiority is determined in a stadium. Victory there is victory everywhere. In this part of the world, a cricket win defines the morale and hope of millions of people. In this part of the world, sports holds the power to make or break a nation. In 2009, Pakistan became the 6th most populous country in the world, but the number of Olympic medals won is at a steep decline. In 15 Olympic Games since 1948, Pakistan has won 10 medals, 3 gold, 3 silver and 4 bronze, the last of which was in 1992. Although many reasons could be attributed to this dearth of medals, one major argument is that the sports in which Pakistan has excelled in the past are not part of the Olympics, and therefore it would be unfair to judge Pakistan's performance on the global stage based on the Olympic wins alone. That's more of an excuse rather than an argument, since even the sports that Pakistan does excel in suffer from a huge lack of infrastructure. And when people are struggling to make ends meet, who would really commit to becoming a full-time sportsman when the existing infrastructure and exposure are far from adequate?
In our time, there were many sponsors there. They still have the team, but they take them on contract. They don't give the jobs. At least for Pakistan team, Pakistan hockey player, he needs a job.
Employers or the former employers cannot afford players anymore. They cannot afford people just floating around. What do you do with somebody who has played hockey from the age of 20 to 30, and then after 30, what is the organization going to do with him?
Men's hockey has managed to make its presence felt on a global stage, and it also shows in medal tally.
In our days, when I used to play, almost on my side, 6 or 7 players of the same caliber were there.
When we used to play, there was clubs there at the grassroots level, whereas nowadays, there's no as such academies or clubs where player can go and play.
8 out of 10 Olympic medals of Pakistan were achieved in men's hockey. Only 3 of them were gold, and hockey just happens to be our national sport, along with polo. The last time Pakistan hockey won something major was 15 years ago in the 1994 World Cup. So would it be safe to say that our national sport isn't widespread enough to merit the title?
We were champions in hockey, in Olympics, World Cups, Asian Games, Asia Cup. We had each and every title. We are lacking in grassroots level.
Unfortunately, we have no domestic structure so far, and we are trying to build a domestic structure.
Government patronage is no more there. Departmental patronage is no more there. And the people who were dedicated towards hockey, they are not no more in hockey.
AstroTurf is an expensive commodity, and while the rest of the world took the reins in adjusting to this efficient new ground, the Pakistani team fell to the wayside simply because facilities were not updated and neither were coaching techniques.
Those who've been playing hockey internationally, they also need coaching training for this. So we had no infrastructure for this.
I think we should send our coaches and all the technocrats to different forums, coaching courses, different forums, to interact with other coaches to get knowledge of that level the people are getting right now in the world.
I'm hopeful that Pakistan hockey can do better, with better planning, with better finances and with their better mind.
What's happening now in hockey, cricket and squash, I am sorry to say this, that Pakistan stands nowhere.
The story of squash is somewhat similar, but much more spectacular. There was no semblance of a domestic squash structure designed to produce world-class players like the British domestic system. All we had were the nerves of steel of a Khan family made of sterner stuff. Shaan Khan started as an unpaid ball boy during the British Raj and ended up a world champion and went on to train a new generation of squash players. Squash was a game of elegant strokes and precise drop shots in the British era, before the advent of the Khans. Enter Shaan Khan, and he turned it into a game of sheer athleticism and attrition, and no one could match up to his protege, Jahangir Khan, who took the game to the next level.
I just came back 3-4 tournaments before the British Open, and I was losing in the beginning, and then start winning all the tournaments, beating all the top players, including Jamshid twice and Rodney Martin and Detmark. And I think British Open was very important because everybody came to see me that maybe he lose this time, because it was straight 9 years, and that was my 10th year. And I had a lot of pressure, but I would say it was one of my best British Open wins.
All the Khans, Roshan, Azam, Jahangir and Jamshid would simply tire out their opponents and then go in for the kill.
Flattened it, hands go aloft, the handshake, and a word spoken, but Jamshid doesn't care about that. And Jamshid Khan's hallmark of greatness becomes deeper ingrained with every tournament he plays. And just how long he can maintain his supremacy would seem to be his decision.
They had revolutionized squash, and no one was prepared for that. It was the difference in the techniques and strategy of the Khans that put Pakistan on the map, not the government or any domestic structure. So in essence, when it comes to squash, Pakistan got lucky. But not for long. With the pull-out of corporate sponsors and no new blood entering the sport, squash has taken a downturn.
One village in England has more squash courts than the entire country of Pakistan, and you are the world champion for years.
Jahangir Khan, for instance, he can become president of the World Squash Federation, but he can never become president of the Pakistan Squash Federation. Why? These hang-ups have to stop.
But the battle isn't over, with new blood recently entering the global squash rankings and making their presence felt in the junior tournaments.
You know, my ambition is to become a world champion, and I'm playing squash just to become a world squash champion, and I'm doing a lot for it. I'm doing a very hard training for it, and I'm learning from my uncles, Jamshid Khan, Mehbullah Khan, and my father, Atlas Khan, who is my permanent coach. And hopefully, inshallah, the way I'm performing within the next 3 to 2 years, I will be able to win a world championship.
If squash and hockey have taken a downturn in terms of popularity, cricket has boomed. However, the sport that runs through the veins of every South Asian has had its own fair share of obstacles. After the break, we look at how Pakistani cricket is riding the wave of controversy and failing infrastructure.